My daughter, once hailed as a dance prodigy, acts like a rebel behind closed doors and refuses to listen to me. When I ask her to watch her diet, she claims I'm starving her. She dated someone she thought was rich. After I did some digging, I wanted them to break up, and she accused me of not understanding love and trying to control her friendships. When she got into a top dance school, she cried during an interview, blaming me for all sorts of things. The backlash from the internet made me severely depressed, and in the end, I took my own life by jumping from a building. Now, starting my life over, I'll witness her fall from grace. Mom, what's wrong with you? I told you I want cola chicken wings for lunch, not this bland stuff. Mom, what are you doing? Her hand waved in front of my eyes, bringing me back to reality. I stared at the scene, my breathing uneven. Last time, she demanded cola chicken wings, but I refused, saying she had a competition next week. She threw a fit, claiming I was starving her. Her dad walked in then and saw it all. She complained to him, saying I wasn't as good as Shirley. That's when I discovered my husband had cheated on me with his old flame, Shirley. I filed for divorce knowing they wouldn't take good care of her, leaving with nothing but her custody. But she resented our lack of money. During the interview for her school, she claimed I never fed her well and beat her when she did poorly. The internet backlash was brutal. She even leaked my address, leading to daily harassment and vandalism at my home. It got too much, leading to my suicide. The day she collected my body, she had a faint smile on her face. All right, go to your Shirley with your dad. Tom and Cindy looked at me in shock, unable to believe I'd say such a thing. Normally, I'd send Cindy to her room and confront Tom. Wife, don't listen to Cindy's nonsense. There's no Shirley. He then scolded Cindy, Cindy, apologize to your mom. Mom, I'm sorry. I cut her off. No need. You're right. I'm not as good as Shirley. Go with your dad. I pushed them both out and changed the lock. I needed time to think things over. Outside, they shouted for a while before leaving. I started looking over our assets. 2 houses, one we lived in and an old, small one. About $10,000 in savings. Last year, Tom asked for an investment, disappearing with $50,000. Probably used it on Shirley. I quickly hired a private investigator to keep tabs on Tom. I needed solid evidence of his affair for negotiations. As for the houses, I'd prefer to take both, but I'd settle for the small one. In 6 months, it'd be set for demolition. The investigator soon provided evidence. With it in hand, I arranged to meet Tom. Cindy came along too. She'd put on roughly 10 pounds in the week since I last saw her. She definitely wouldn't fit into her performance outfit. You old hag. Why are you staring like that? Are you mad I skimped on the dance competition? I'm not doing it. Facing my daughter's tirade, my heart ached a little. She was such a sweet kid, wanting to become a top dancer. I backed her every step, practicing with her daily. But now? She said dance was her biggest regret and had turned to dating wealthy men online. But that's not my business anymore. Fine, don't compete then. From now on, I won't push you to practice or control what you eat. You're free to live how you want. I won't be involved anymore. Ignoring Cindy's shock, I got to the actual reason I met Tom. Tom, let's divorce. I handed him a draft of the agreement, $10,000 in savings and both houses. Tom flipped through it and shouted, "How can you take so much? Haven't I been the breadwinner?" I dropped the evidence on the table. There were many photos, most of him and Shirley, some even with Cindy and their illegitimate child. It's a joke, my daughter knew about his affair all along. You cheated first. Why can't I take as much as I want? No way. I'll only agree to 60%. Tom was trying to bargain, but I wasn't letting him. The investigator had found pictures of him and Shirley buying a house together, giving me the leverage I needed. Then I'll take you to court. Everything you bought Shirley is joint property, and I have the right to claim it. Tom hesitated. He knew a lawsuit would leave him with nothing, not even Shirley's current place. Dad, just sign it. I'm sick of this old hag. Your high salary can earn it back quickly. Cindy chimed in, egging him on. Dad, stop thinking about it. Shirley and my brother are waiting for us to go home. And Cindy's custody. Tom glanced at Cindy. I knew he was trying to use Cindy against me. She was my favorite, for whom I gave up my beloved career to become a housewife. Plus, Tom has always been biased towards males, and he never really liked her. He just pretended to care when we had disagreements. Dad, I don't want to be with this old hag. I want to stay with you and Shirley. Cindy looked at me with hatred. Of course, Cindy's custody goes to you. Didn't you say you were the best for her? I doubt Cindy would want to be with me anyway. Tom didn't expect me to give up my beloved daughter. Fine, custody goes to me, but you'll pay child support monthly. Sure, $1,000 a month, I agreed without hesitation. Cindy cheered, excited to finally get away from me. That's just how she was. Her dad's small, cheap gifts meant he loved her. But I would lose nights making her unique performance costumes, only for her to complain about them not being branded. A week later, Cindy was back. Tom said my place was closer to her school, which would be more convenient since she was in her senior year. But I knew he just didn't want to take care of her anymore. Shirley initially tolerated Cindy to improve her position, and now that she succeeded, she wouldn't let Cindy stay around. Fine, she could stay here, and I'd act like she wasn't even there. Hurry up and make me food, I'm starving, Cindy demanded while lying on the couch. I ignored her and went about my tasks. Baby, are you talking to that old hag you mentioned? A man's voice came from Cindy's phone. It must be her so-called rich boyfriend. Yeah, brother, Cindy replied sweetly, then turned to me and shouted, make me food. Can't you hear me? The switch in her tone amazed me. Don't be mad, baby. Next time we meet, I'll yell at her for you, said the boyfriend. Love you, brother, Cindy cooed into the phone before hanging up. Old hag, that's my rich boyfriend. Learning dance is pointless, just a showman's gig for entertainment. Better to find a wealthy man to really climb the social ladder. I smirked, not bothering to respond. In the past life, I learned about her boyfriend's background. He was a rich guy's illegitimate son, who briefly returned to his family but was kicked out again. Now he's jobless and a drifter. Make me food or I'll tell Dad. I'll starve to death because of you. She shrieked in rage. Cook yourself if you're hungry. Fine, I won't eat, Cindy snapped, just like before, trying to manipulate me. I was no longer affected. Fortunately, my meal delivery arrived. I laid out the food, all dishes I wanted to try before but never did. I used to save every penny for Cindy's dance lessons and costumes for competitions, denying myself even the smallest treats or clothing. But now, freed from those burdens, I could indulge my tastes and treat myself right. The $1,000 in monthly child support from Tom went straight to her. On allowance day, she surprisingly gave me a friendly smile. Mom. Startled by her sudden pleasantness, I stared. Over the past month, we'd lived like strangers under the same roof. Even though I knew she sneaked out at night, I never said anything. She didn't even call me Mom anymore. I raised my eyebrows, curious about her follow-up. As expected, Cindy continued, Mom, could you give me more allowance? How much do you want? 10 grand, she said boldly. I'm broke. Ask your dad, I waved it off. She screamed, Dad's got no money. You took it all, you old hag. Just give me the money. No, I dismissed her rage. But I didn't anticipate Cindy would target my tuition funds next. One day, Cindy's teacher texted me. Cindy's mom, Cindy came to see me today. She wants to quit dancing and asked for a refund on her prepaid tuition. Is there a problem at home? Cindy has great talent, and I hope you'll reconsider. I had just paid 3 months' dance fees a month ago, and those savings had been hard-earned. If she wasn't interested anymore, I wanted the refund. There's nothing at home, teacher. Cindy doesn't want to learn. Can the fees be refunded? Cindy has so much potential. Please think it over, the teacher urged. No need. I respect her choice, I replied firmly. Seeing I couldn't be swayed, the teacher reluctantly returned the remaining fees. I later learned that Cindy's rich boyfriend had fooled her into thinking she'd get millions by investing 10 grand in his fake project. I shook my head, couldn't believe her gullibility. After this, I decided Cindy couldn't keep living here. Who knows what she might steal one day? Before I figured out a way to get her out, the opportunity presented itself. Since the incident, Cindy hadn't been home in days. I used to panic when she was gone. Now, it doesn't matter to me. She's just a tenant, not my concern. I've been job hunting again lately. I studied fashion design in college, but after having Cindy, I hadn't touched it since. Being out of the workforce for years, with aesthetics changing rapidly, coming back means I have to start from the bottom, and I'm swamped every day. I found out Cindy hadn't been to school for several days after getting notified by her teacher. I thought she was just staying at her dad's for a few days, but she hadn't even been to school. Cindy's mom, Cindy's been skipping class a lot lately. Parents need to be more involved, the teacher said over the phone. She's with her dad now. You should contact him, I replied. I already did, but he said you were handling it. No matter the divorce, you both need to be involved, the teacher insisted. Cindy, once an excellent student, had dropped over 100 places in last week's exams. Being a senior, she needs attention. Also, Cindy seems to be in a relationship, dyed her hair on a whim, which is against school rules. Can you come to the school to discuss this? I tried calling Tom several times, but he didn't pick up. I had no choice but to go to the school. In the office, both the teacher and Cindy were there. Cindy's once jet black long hair was now short and blue, her face with heavy makeup, and tattoos on her hands. I frowned but quickly relaxed. Cindy's mom, we're here to talk about Cindy, the teacher started gently. I don't want this old woman telling me what to do. Cindy shouted back. Cindy, you used to be such a good kid. What happened? The teacher sighed. Teacher, I'll take her home to talk. Cindy walked ahead while I followed, watching her back. How did my sweet child turn into this? At the school gate, a guy with dyed yellow hair was waiting on a motorcycle. Before getting on, Cindy looked back at me. Don't try to control me. I don't want you involved. If I'm not involved, then move out if you don't want to come back. That afternoon, Cindy packed her things, taking only clothes and accessories, leaving behind books and old dance clothes. I wasn't sure if she went to Tom's or with her edgy boyfriend. Months passed by quietly in my life, but Tom loudly announced his news with Shirley. At their wedding, I got texted photos and snide comments from a strange number. Tom promised me a grand wedding. I heard you never even had a wedding dress, what a pity. In the photos, Shirley's stomach slightly rounded, probably about 4 or 5 months along. I replied, congratulations to Miss Shirley for finally making it. The response was immediate, so what? The unloved one is the third wheel. You got between us, you barren woman who no one will ever want. I chuckled and blocked them. On December 5th, I remembered this was the day when last time they announced the redevelopment of the old unit. I found the notice quickly, my old place was included. Thankfully, my new beginning hadn't changed these things. That afternoon, I took time off to learn about the redevelopment policy. My house wasn't large, about 110 square meters. The compensation was a replacement unit and $100,000 cash, which I found acceptable and signed the contract immediately. As I walked out of the land office, Tom called. He must have heard and wanted a cut. I hung up and blocked him, then another unknown call came through. No need to guess, Tom was using Shirley's phone. I hung up and blocked it too. When I got home, Tom was already waiting at the door. When he saw me, he stood up. I ignored him, ready to unlock my door. As I tried to go in, Tom grabbed my arm. "Jane, we need to talk." "What is there to discuss?" "If it's about Cindy, custody is with you. We don't need to talk." I shut the door behind me, not wanting him in my home. "She's your daughter too. You can't just ignore her." Tom was a bit angry, not really wanting this responsibility. "Custody was yours. If there's nothing else, I'd like you to leave. I'm not here to argue about Cindy. That old unit was redeveloped, I deserve half." Tom finally got to his point. I folded my arms, looking at him. "That redevelopment has nothing to do with you. Our divorce agreement was clear, it's mine. Jane, that was my parents' place, it should be mine. You can take legal action. The papers clearly show it's mine." I walked away, leaving him outside, his shouting muffled by the door. The next morning, being a weekend, I planned to sleep in but was woken by loud banging on the door. Mom, open the door. Mom, come on, open up. It's Cindy. You old woman, open the door right now, you hag. Cindy's voice changed from impatient to demanding. I opened the door, and Cindy, ready to kick it, stumbled in when it suddenly opened, falling to the ground. "Help me up, it hurts," she yelled, lying there. I ignored her, went back to the couch, and kept watching videos. After a while, when she realized I wasn't responding, Cindy got up on her own and sat beside me. "Mom, I heard about the house being redeveloped," Cindy asked in an unusually polite tone. "Who told you?" "Your dad." I pulled my arm away as she tried to cling on. Looking her over, in half a year, her figure had changed, her skin turned rough, with bruises on her hands. She didn't seem to be doing well. "Mom, don't worry about who I heard it from. We have money now, can't you give me some?" "No, your custody is with your dad. I'm only obligated to give you $1,000 a month. I've decided, I won't give her, this ungrateful brat, any more money. Oh, and I remember you turned 18 a few days ago. So, I don't have to pay you that $1,000 anymore," I said coldly. "Mom, it's all going to be mine someday anyway. What's the difference if you give it to me now or later?" Cindy whined. In the past, whenever she acted all sweet and innocent, I'd usually give her what she wanted. But not anymore. "How much do you want?" Suddenly, I was curious about how much she was asking for. 100,000. That's nothing compared to the demolition money. "You'll give it to me, right, Mommy?" Cindy looked at me with hopeful eyes. "No." I bluntly refused again. "How about 50,000? Or even 10,000? I'm sure it's not Tom who sent her to ask for money. Tom's appetite wouldn't be that small. I bet it's that so-called rich boyfriend of hers sending her. But of course, the guy's just a punk, making meal money by gambling. And Cindy, spoiled by me since childhood, wouldn't know how to endure hardships or get a job. "No, I won't give you any money." "Old hag, why don't you give me money? If you don't give it to me now, don't expect me to take care of you when you're old. When you die, nobody will be there to hold your picture," Cindy shouted. "When I'm old, I'll go to a nursing home. I don't need you to take care of me. My photo can go on my coffin, don't need anyone to hold it. I'd rather donate my money to charity than give it to you." "You don't need to worry about that," I said calmly. "You wretched woman, you'll die a terrible death. Don't come to me anymore." I chased Cindy out with a broom. Her words made me think about the future. I've decided not to consider marriage again, and having another child seems unlikely. Maybe I should think about my future. Even though there are nursing homes, I'd still like to have a child around. So I went to an orphanage to sponsor a child. After leaving the director's office, I found out I didn't qualify to adopt, but I could sponsor a child that I felt a connection with. Looking around the courtyard, the kids' eyes were clear, filled with hope for the future. There was a time when Cindy was just like these kids. I wonder when she changed. Auntie. Someone snapped me out of my thoughts. Who are you? I looked at the familiar little girl but couldn't remember where I'd seen her before. Auntie, I'm Eva. We met during last year's dance competition. Eva, I remember now. Cindy won first place last year, and Eva was the runner-up. Eva, I remember you. Why are you here? Auntie, I'm from this orphanage. I've grown up here. There was no hint of shame in the little girl's eyes as she spoke confidently about being an orphan. Ms. Lin, you know Eva? The director held Eva's hand proudly, saying, Eva's our most capable child. She learned dance on her own and got second place. Do you really like dancing? I asked the slender girl in front of me. Yes, I love it. I want to become a great dancer. Eva's eyes were full of dreams and hope. In her, I saw the Cindy who used to tell me she wanted to be a dancer. Did you sign up for the national dance competition in 3 months? The light in Eva's eyes dimmed. No, I didn't have enough for the registration fee or a costume. She really wanted to join the national competition, but the money she earned from part-time jobs only covered school supplies, not the competition fee. The director seemed a little heartbroken, too. This kid, I offered to cover the cost, but she refused. Director Mom, there are so many younger ones here. I can't be selfish. Would you come to stay at Auntie's place? Auntie can send you for professional dance lessons and competitions. I looked at Eva and asked seriously. She hesitated, asking, with Cindy? No, she's not learning anymore. I shook my head gently. Eva packed her things and came home with me. I set her up in Cindy's old room. While I called Cindy's former dance teacher from the living room, she quietly settled in. Hey, teacher. Do you have time in the evenings? Ms. Lee, are you sending a child for lessons again? Sure, there's time. But Cindy hasn't practiced for 6 months, her basics might have slipped, so she'll need extra practice to get ready for the competition in 3 months. It's not Cindy. It's my other daughter. I cut off the teacher's chatter. You have another daughter? The teacher was surprised. I looked at Eva busily organizing in her room and smiled. Yep, I just got her today. Just then, Eva walked out of the room. Teacher, I'll bring her by at the usual time tomorrow. Auntie. Eva called me softly. What's up, Eva? I looked at her warmly. I was wondering if I should tidy up Cindy's clothes in the closet. The closet was filled with performance outfits I made for Cindy, many she never even wore. When she left, she didn't take any. No need, they're yours now, Eva. Many are new and never worn. Eva touched the dresses one by one. Are they really all mine? They're so beautiful. Yes, all yours. Throw out the used ones and keep the new ones. I patted her head. No need, Auntie. They're all so pretty, I love them. Eva never dreamed she would have so many lovely costumes, each one sparkled. I pulled one out to size it against her. Eva, try it on. If it's too big, Auntie will alter it. Eva was even slimmer than Cindy, especially around the waist. Auntie, did you make all of these? I did it myself. I'm holding a needle and thread, ready to adjust the waistline. Auntie, you're amazing. No wonder Cindy always looked so great in those outfits during her competitions. Look, the same thing can be seen as trash by some but as a treasure by others. I've transferred Eva to Cindy's school. This school has strong faculty, and it's closer to home and her dance class. Eva's not like Cindy. She gives me peace of mind. Every day, she studies hard at school, catching up on what she missed, and she goes to dance practice in the evening. She learned dance on her own before and has a natural talent, but her basics weren't solid. She might have won a city-level competition, but the national level was a reach. One day, on my way to pick up Eva from school, I unexpectedly saw a familiar figure. Cindy stood in an alley near the school. When we made eye contact, she quickly looked away, retreating into the alley. She seemed pregnant, about 3 to 4 months along, with bruised arms and legs showing. A punk with blonde hair suddenly approached her and slapped her face. "Bitch, what are you running around for? What are you looking at? You think you can just slack off at home instead of making me food? You want me dead or something?" He had a cigarette in one hand and grabbed her wrist, pressing the lit end onto her arm. "Ah!" Cindy screamed in pain. "What are you screaming for, you bitch? Trying to embarrass me?" He kept cursing. Cindy looked at me with a pleading expression. When our eyes met again, I looked away and ignored her. "Is this the life you wanted? Well, here you have it. Auntie." Eva came over. I took Eva's hand, and we walked home. Cindy watched our backs, and the light in her eyes slowly faded. Soon, it was the day of the national dance competition. I sat in the audience, watching Eva in the outfit I made as she stepped on stage. Graceful moves, perfect timing, like an elegant swan breaking free from a cage, soaring. The scores were announced quickly, and Eva took first place. A national-level dancer on the judging panel wanted to take her as a student, and many prestigious schools offered her scholarships and free tuition. When reporters interviewed her, she said, "The person I want to thank most is my Jane. Without her, I wouldn't have had the chance to study dance professionally, enter this competition, and win first place. I love you, Jane, thank you." Tears streamed down my face without me even realizing it. To celebrate Eva's achievement, I took her to eat hot pot and bought her lots of new clothes while shopping. On the way back, we ran into Tom. "Jane?" Tom looked at me in disbelief. "How did you become so good-looking?" After the divorce, without the pressure from family and Cindy's nonsense, and with regular exercise and taking care of myself, along with Eva's thoughtful nature, I'd been doing better. As for him, he no longer looked neat and tidy as before. Instead, he had grown scruffy and out of shape, turning into an oily middle-aged man. "Honey, how about we get back together? I've really missed you this past year." Tom grabbed my hand, stroking the back of it. Disgusted, I jerked my hand away and slapped him. "Don't nauseate me. Aren't you married to Shirley? I could divorce her right now. Honey, I really miss you." I spoke coldly. "No thanks, I have no interest in a man like you. I'm not your wife. Don't bother me, or I'll call the police." I pulled Eva away and walked off. Later, I heard Tom and Shirley divorced. Shirley was fed up with him not earning enough money and ran off with a rich older man, leaving him with the kids. I also heard Cindy was beaten by that punk and had a miscarriage. People reported it, but she told the police she didn't want to pursue it and forgave him. Again and again, neighbors stopped intervening and let her be. But none of it concerns me anymore. I respect other people's destinies. Looking at the chirpy little girl before me, my face was full of smiles. My daughter and I are living happily. Cindy's epilogue. I saw my mom at the school entrance today. The moment I saw her, I wanted to hide. I look too pathetic now. I don't want her to see me like this. I got beaten, and my mom didn't even react when she saw me. I tried to send her a look for help. "Mom, you used to care for me the most. You can't just ignore me." But it seems like you don't want me anymore. You just walked away with another little girl. Am I a child without a mom now? I went to the national dance competition. That little girl next to my mom wore a dress my mom made for me. Well, not mine anymore. It'll never belong to me again. Watching that girl dance on stage made me think of my old self. I used to dance in the spotlight too, but now. I laughed bitterly at my pregnant belly. It's all over for me. That girl won a gold medal. I was thinking, maybe that medal was supposed to be mine. I started sneaking around like a thief, watching their life from a distance, trailing them from the community gate, looking from afar. Mom is so tender towards that little girl. I'm so jealous. Once, the little girl spotted me. When Mom went to the restroom, she came over. I was too slow to slip away. She said she knew who I was. Told me not to bother our mom anymore. Said Mom is too good for me, and now she belongs to her. She won't give her back. I got angry and wanted to hit her, but she dodged me. I saw Mom walk out, and I quickly ran away. I couldn't let her see me like this. But maybe she doesn't care anymore anyway. Mom, it hurts so much, really hurts. I had a miscarriage because Ben hit me. Ben is my jerk boyfriend. My mom always said he was just a loser, not some rich guy. I didn't believe her. Mom, I was so naive back then. After I moved out of my mom's place, my dad and stepmom didn't want me either. They said my little brother and sister needed the rooms. But they're so young, they can't live on their own. That's when I realized my dad's kindness was just an act. I was really foolish. When I came to live with Ben, he would beat and yell at me every day. I tried fighting back once. I just got beaten worse. The neighbors called the cops once. But without Ben, where would I go? My mom and dad have already turned their backs on me, I've got no home now. I couldn't let my child be without a family. That baby was all I had left. Now that they're gone, it feels like Ben is all I have. I had a dream. In it, there was no Eva, Mom was just my mom. But I was rebellious, always yelling at her and telling people she abused me. That gold medal from the dance competition was mine, those flowers, honor, and applause were for me. During an interview, I said different things than Eva did. I claimed my mom abused me, starved me, and controlled my freedom and friendships. Mom just stood there, wide-eyed, unable to believe it. I then led online attacks against her, sharing her address so people could hound her. Eventually, Mom broke down and jumped off a building. Even as I arranged her funeral, I used it to my advantage, pretending I forgave her, winning sympathy online. I woke up in a sweat. That dream me was so cruel. If Mom had ever been that good to me, I'd never treat her like that. But things can't go back. I looked around, my tiny, run-down apartment crammed with junk. The floor was littered with garbage and cigarette butts, and a puddle of Ben's puke stank up the air. Next to me was a man passed out drunk. This is how awful my life has become. The cuts on my wrist were getting deeper, and the blood was coming out. Of course, Ben isn't getting off scot-free. The blood kept flowing, and my vision began to blur. Mom, will you come to see me one last time?